One thing that a child is going to force you to do is to rethink your priorities, whether you like it or not, because they're going to challenge your patience and your mental health. It's really intense, non-stop. It's not like you can switch it on and off or turn down the volume or like a remote control that you can just stop or pause it. When you first get the news, your whole world turns upside down. And it happened to me as well. I was shocked. I didn't know what to say, even though mentally I was ready. And it's something that my wife and I had already discussed and we were actively looking for. Regardless of it, it's gonna shock your world. So if you're not ready, I wouldn't worry too much, because nature is very wise. It gives you 9 months to come to terms with it. By the time your child is born, you are actually gonna be looking forward to it. The way I see the whole thing is this. When you go to school, they teach you that the sun is the center of the solar system and everything in this world spins around the sun. When your first child is born, that changes. He is the center of your universe. He is the center of your world, and everything spins around him or her. Because if there is one thing that your child or your children are gonna do, they're gonna suck up all your energy, and any of your personal projects, goals, aspirations, you're gonna have to put them on hold for at least the first 4 years until they go to school. Well, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, however long it takes for your kid to go to school. Because from the moment your child is born, your family and your children are gonna be your main priority. And if you don't think that way, don't worry, time puts everything in the right place. There is a reason why every single person that is a public figure disappears when they have a child or they have children for a number of years, because having a kid is really demanding, both mentally and physically, and you are gonna lose the drive and the passion for certain things that you had plenty of before. You're gonna have to kiss goodbye to do any long-term jobs or any type of job that requires you going away for a number of days, weeks or months, let alone leaving the city, the state or the country. That's gone. You're gonna have to focus on short-term work, daily jobs. You might even have to consider dropping your freelance career altogether and find yourself a stable job. And I know it sounds ludicrous, but this is where the word stability comes into play. You're gonna have to provide a safe and a stable environment to your child to grow. And there will be times that you're gonna grow frustrated because you see people doing things, or you watch a video about someone doing something, or a client approaches you to do something, and before you were able to just drop everything and just get on with it. You could spend any day of the week, you could spend weekends, you could work until whatever time. It was just you. But now it's a different story. It's not just you, it's your wife or your partner or your girlfriend and your child. And you need to be there. And everything that you want to do is going to have to be discussed and agreed on, not based on what you want, not based on what your partner wants, it's based on what your child needs. That's a concept that you'll understand over time, because as you live or try to live, he or she is going to look up to you and is going to give you that look saying, are you not gonna play with me? Or he's gonna say, Daddy, are you leaving? And you're gonna see in his eyes that all they want is to play with you. You're gonna have to make some big, massive readjustments to your life. But trust me when I tell you this, it's all gonna be well worth it. You see this abandoned building behind me? Well, you want to make sure that you don't become exactly that. Simply because you're raising a child doesn't mean that you have to let go of your dreams, goals and aspirations in life. It's really important that you keep those ticking away, because in actual fact, your child will also benefit from that, because you're gonna have a much better mental health. What are the suggestions or recommendations that I can give you that have made my life a little bit easier? Do you or your partner or wife or girlfriend or husband, do they have any parents around? Do they have any relatives, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunties, cousins? Or do you have that? Because if you have that, that's a massive help. Because there is one thing that you're gonna soon understand, and that is you cannot have both parents on intensive 9-to-5 day jobs. The theory says, yes, you can do it. You can leave your child in nursery and then you pick him up at 6 o'clock or 5 or whatever the time. The reality is that your child is gonna get sick. Your child is going to develop problems. He's going to develop rashes, illnesses, headaches. He's going to bump. He's going to have accidents. He's going to develop all sorts of things. His immune system is not developed, and he's going to pick up all sorts of viruses and bugs. And you're going to have to be at home, or your wife is going to have to be at home. or you're gonna have to end up in A&E, in hospital, and you need to have that flexibility. At least one parent is gonna have to have a very, very flexible job, if no job at all. One thing that made a massive difference and it helped me a lot was to actually have a schedule for my child from birth all the way up to 4 years old. Napping, feeding, playing, absolutely everything. And it's so true, it genuinely works. And it's the only time that you're gonna be able to do any work on your projects, on your YouTube channel, on your social media channel, on whatever it is that you want to do, is when your child is sleeping. And you're gonna have to take a really good advantage of the first 3 to 6 months, because your child is gonna sleep most of the time. But from 6 months on, that's gonna start to change, and they're gonna start to sleep less and less and less. And when they get to around 3 years old, the half-day napping is gone, and your child is gonna have enough energy to run from 6, 7 in the morning all the way up to 7, 8 or 9 in the evening. If you're in a position to afford childcare, whether it is a nanny or a nursery, trust me, do it. Do it as soon as possible. It's gonna be the best benefit, not only for you, but your child is gonna be able to relate and play with kids of his age or her age. And that is gonna be, first, invaluable for her or for him, and for you it's gonna be huge, because those 4, 6, 8, 10 hours that your child is in nursery and he's playing and developing with kids of his age, those hours are the only hours that you're gonna have to do your thing. Because the moment your child is back with you, it's gonna require your attention, it's gonna demand your attention. Simply because your child goes to nursery doesn't mean that he's gonna go to nursery. Let me explain this. Those first 6 months, your child is gonna catch all sorts of viruses, bugs, and illnesses from other childs. It's the way for the immune system to develop. It would help big time if your child has been exposed to other kids. Maybe you have relatives that have other kids. But your child is gonna be in a room with 10, 15, or 20 other kids for a number of hours, however many days you can afford, and he's gonna catch things. And back to what I said earlier in the video, one of the parents is gonna have to have a very flexible schedule, because you're gonna have to potentially stay at home, if not end up in hospital or A&E. And your child is not just gonna get sick, you're gonna have to attend parents' clubs, maybe nursing courses, GP appointments, networking events or support events for parents, and that is gonna restrict even more the time that you have available for you to do whatever it is that you did before you had your child. Things get a little bit better after you go over the 8, 9, 10 months. Your child's immune system is gonna develop and it's gonna get much better, and that's when you're gonna be able to start doing more things, because your child is gonna be able to spend more times and more days consistently in nursery, and you're gonna have that time off for you to develop your career. Does that mean that you can then go off and agree on long-term jobs? Absolutely not. That's just not gonna happen. You can kiss that goodbye. Well, depending on your situation, the kind of parent that you want to be, and the support network that you have around you. But in my experience, I had to kiss all of that goodbye. You're gonna have to adapt and do most of the work remotely from home, or if you are developing a social media channel or a YouTube channel, you're gonna have to start getting used to editing or filming into late hours in the morning, because it's the only time that you're gonna have to do any work is when your child is either at nursery or sleeping. But when your child is awake, you're gonna have to be with him or with her, because they're gonna demand your attention and you will want to spend time with them. That's the whole point of having a child. I am assuming that you're watching this video because you want to be someone that wants to be present in the child life. And if that is the case, you're gonna have to adapt. Hey love. Okay, I pack up and go now. You're just in real time what happens when you have a kid and you try to film anything. Just as I was finishing the video, my wife called that my son had developed a condition, and what you're gonna do? Are you gonna carry on filming, or are you just gonna drop everything and then go? And this is pretty much the gist of it, okay? Everything now depends on your child. And I'll give you an example. Let's say that you are filming a commercial. You could be the producer, you could be the camera department, you could be the director, you could be any role in a commercial, and then you get a phone call that your son, he's got an accident or that he needs to go to A&E. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna carry on doing that job, or are you gonna drop everything and go to A&E? If you are the kind of parent that I am, I drop everything and I go to emergency services because my son takes priority. So you need to have a responsibility not just to your child or to your family, but to the people that you work around. And you need to decide based on your personal circumstances what you can or cannot do. You might have family around, you might have a great support network, or you might have absolutely nobody and it's just you and your partner and nobody else. And I really hope that you have a wife, a partner, or a husband to raise that child with, because if you do it on your own, oh my God, just to think that you have to do all of that on your own. I genuinely, if you are watching this video and you are a single parent, I admire you, because what you're doing is almost supernatural. But things get better once your child has passed 3.5, 4 years old, because their immune system has developed enough so that they don't get constantly sick. Instead of taking them 4, 5, 6 a week or 10 days to recover, it might take them 1 or 2 days. And they're gonna be able to spend more time in nursery or whatever childcare arrangements you have. The key here is planning and preparation. I'll give you an example. In the past, before your child was born, maybe you planned a concept for a video or anything to do with your client that required filming a sunrise on a Tuesday, or you could just decide on a whim that you want to do a sunrise tomorrow, for instance. Well, that's just not gonna happen. You can't just decide on a whim what you're gonna do, because you need to then decide that with your wife or your partner or your child and their arrangements. Are they going to nursery? Do they have a doctor's appointment? Is there anything else going on in your child's life that makes that impossible? Does your wife work allow for you to leave maybe at 3, 4 in the morning and then come back at 9 or 10? Because who's gonna take that child to nursery? It's just so many things and elements that you need to think about before you can decide and go and film a sunrise. Maybe on a weekend when your wife or partner or husband is back home, you may be able to get away at 3 or 4 in the morning, but then you need to deal with the realities of a couple and family life, and that might not even be a possibility. So you might be forced to change your ideas, your concepts, what it is that you can do based on what you can actually do. Everything now has to be prepared beforehand, days in advance. Sometimes you might have a video or a concept that you want to do, and this is on a Thursday, and you cannot start doing anything until Monday or Tuesday, whereas before you could just grab your tripod and your camera and off you go the very same afternoon. But if there is one thing that my son has taught me, is that it's okay that I can't do the same things that I did before he was born. That it's okay that things take twice as long. That it's okay that I have to stay until early hours in the morning filming, editing, or finishing a project, whether it is for YouTube or for a client. Everything is okay. When your son comes to you out of nowhere and he gives you a hug and he tells you, I love you, trust me when I tell you, nothing compares to that. No award, no compliment, nothing that anybody can tell you or do for you will compare to your son or your daughter showing you the affection and the love. Believe me when I tell you, it makes it all well worth it. And hey, if you like this video and found it useful, hit the like button, smash it if that's something that you're into, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you in the next one.